While studying philosophy in Copenhagen, she became known as the debating Finn. She has clear values. She can back them up with solid logic.
Please put your hands together for Silva.
Last April, my friend Matilda called me, and she was panicking a little bit. You see, my dear friend Matilda had, on a very short notice, decided to run for the European Parliament. Now she was asking me if I wanted to be her campaign manager. Matilda is a very, very sharp girl. She is an expert on EU issues, but most importantly, she has some clear visions and ideas for how the EU should be developed. So when she called me that day, I couldn't say no. Now, being a campaign manager may sound like a fancy job that looks good on your LinkedIn, but in practice, it's pretty damn rough. It means waking up at 5 o'clock every morning for 2 months straight. After waking up, you bike to the central railway station in Helsinki. You stand there, often in pouring rain, handing out flyers to strangers who are busy getting to work, and you try to get them excited over the European Union. The campaign actually went really well. But one thing that struck me during the campaign was that a lot of people came up to us and said that they're happy that young girls like us are active in politics. After the elections, a lot of people contacted us and they said that they had voted for Matilda because they believed that it is important to have young women represented in politics. I know that people didn't mean anything bad with these comments, but they really didn't feel like compliments. It felt like people were first and foremost interested in Matilda's gender and her age, and only then, perhaps, listening to what she had to say. We live in a representative democracy, but I would say that our understanding of representation is quite narrow. The fact that Matilda is young doesn't mean that she has youth issues on her political agenda. And the fact that she's a woman doesn't guarantee that she's going to rally for feminism. So instead of focusing on the representation of societal groups, we should focus on the representation of ideas. I would say that the comments that we received are a symptom of what some would call collectivism. Collectivism means that you believe that the society primarily consists of groups. And it means that you believe that a person's ideas and thoughts can largely be explained by background variables, such as age, gender, socioeconomic status, and even perhaps ethnicity. The thing that I don't like about collectivism is that it puts the interest of a larger group in front of the interest of the individuals who comprise this group. I prefer individualism. Now, when you hear the word individualism, some of you may think about people who hate paying their taxes. And others may think about climate change that is happening because people are too busy consuming and too busy being selfish. But you should never use the words egoism and individualism as synonyms, because they don't mean the same thing. Individualism means that you think that the society primarily consists of individuals. You see, we're quite complex creatures. We have complex identities. We belong to a multitude of groups at the same time. And even though we belong to a certain group, we might very largely disagree with the prevailing idea in that group. Individualism is based on the thought that no matter which societal group you belong to, you're capable of constructing your own ideas. This doesn't always mean that people do question mantras such as, remember to vote for women, but it means that they're capable of doing it. Now, if people are capable of constructing their own ideas, shouldn't we then treat each other in our daily life in a way that we take the words that other people say as their own words, instead of as a social construct determined by the group that they were born into? I would say yes. Today, we have heard a bunch of really good speeches. Vera was talking about questioning stereotypes, and Delphine was talking about questioning societal structures, such as walls. Henry was talking about taking control of your own life and making your own decisions. And Klaus and Elena were talking about taking responsibility and making a change for the greater good. I would say that all of these speeches are based on the thought that people are capable of thinking for themselves and therefore responsible for their own actions. I would say that these ideas are inherently individualistic, and I would say that it's quite nice. We're going to have our next elections in 2021. And when you're scrolling through the internet looking for your candidate, I hope that you do your best to sort of hide what they look like, hide the background variables such as gender and age, and solely focus on the ideas that they're putting through and how they're arguing for these things. In April 2021, you're going to find me on the Central Railway Station, handing out flyers to strangers at 7 o'clock in the morning, probably in the pouring rain. And I promise you that I'm going to be campaigning for the person who has, in my opinion, the best ideas. So come and say hi, and thank you for a lovely evening.
Everything when you work every day and investing.